Every paw has a story, some filled with love, some with pain, but all of them deserve hope. Welcome to Tales of Hope, voices for the voiceless, hope for every paw. Here, we speak for those who can't, and together, we create hope, one paw at a time.
Coming back, since we were talking about body languages of these animals, is there anything in particular that is more difficult to read when it comes to our indies, or is it universal across all, dogs?
Um, I mean, there are a few things here and there. I think there has been some research done. I don't remember if it was a formal study or just a collection of observations. Uh, but dogs who are black in color tend to blink less
Okay.
because they know that the other people or dogs can't see them blinking clearly. So blinking is also a sign of stress, just communicating that I'm unhappy. But black dogs tend to do less of that and be more use other signals such as yawning or licking of the lips. So there are these minor differences, but regardless of breed, at the end of the day, they are still a dog. The basics anatomy is the same. The uh, way of communication is the same. What happens is that with a lot of breed dogs, because are um, they are separated very early on from their mothers, their full childhood education does not take place. So things that which a mother dog would teach the puppies does not happen, and that responsibility is then transferred to the human uh, to teach dog language to a puppy when we ourselves don't know what the
Much
hell.
about it. Well, I'll tell you honestly, on this, I won't even get into debate, because on this, I know for me, it's still a learning curve, when it comes to teaching
Yeah,
or even understanding or
yeah.
communicating with these kids. This brings me to a very important question: how important it is for a pet owner as well as the community to better understand the language of these, the body language of these dogs.
Um, I think it has implications both practically and philosophically. Practically, because of course it avoids so many possible conflicts just because we now know what they are saying or what they are trying to communicate with us and how we can uh, walk away or make sure our actions are not provoking them further. But more importantly, philosophically, if people are interested in learning the language of the dogs, uh, I think it's a sign that we are willing to listen to the dog. And that's something which is missing right now. I think we are not listening to our dogs. Uh, and I think once we start listening, whether it is to other humans or other animals, we then are on at the same level as they are. And making sure that both of us are at the same level, we are not looking down upon them just because they are dogs, is something which is super critical for coexisting. Uh, and the sooner that happens, the better it is for both.
On this, I would just like to add further, when you said we're not listening, that, whether it is humans,
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
even amongst humans, let's be honest, we're not listening.
Yeah.
All we are, from what I have been gathering from my experience of all this, uh, you know 35 years of in the corporate culture and everything, we never listen. We're just ready to, it's just a natural instinct what has built, inculcated in us, where we're just trying to, just answer back or hit back at the person rather than listening and understanding. I think it is very important, whether it comes to human communications or, communicating with our pets or the animals.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming back uh, to the section where we talk about your how important educating is. What role do you think education plays in improving the relationship between humans and animals?
I think more than humans and just animals, I think children need to be educated about our environment in general, what is around us, whether it is animals or trees, or what kind of trees are in our environment, what are native, what are not native, um, and how we can best care for the place that we call home. Uh, and understanding that these animals also call the same place their home. Uh, Once children can grow up with that sort of understanding, respect towards others, empathy, I think it does have a profound effect on their relationships with humans as well when they are older. There have been so many research studies done which link animal abuse to human abuse later on, especially domestic violence uh, and crimes against women. Uh, and I think that just comes from, okay, if we can uh, cause harm to a being that cannot do anything, that transfers on to then looking at people as well, where I can cause harm to people and they can't do anything about
And
it.
get away with it, yes.
Yeah, with it. So having that uh, grounding very early on, that we need to respect, we need to care, we need to be kind to each other, would have such a profound impact later on. And it's something which can't be measured, right? I mean, I do one session in a school and let's say 200 children learn about this. I have no way to prove if the this was the reason behind the kids are going to be kinder later on. uh, I will only realize the impact when they are 16, 17, 18 years old, and they are so we do need a long term study as well done, which there
On
really.
this, honestly, with my experience, also what I've been having, I've realized, uh, as they say, catch them young.
Yeah.
So I think it's not only us. I don't think it is only part by the NGOs or people who are animal lovers, but I think overall as a community we need to come together and really, really, if we need to see a better vision or a better future, I think we need to start it with our kids. Yeah, that's
And it's not just for animals, right? It's ultimately beneficial for humans. So what I end up telling
absolutely.
the schools that I go to, that those who have empathy towards other beings, whether human or not human, will be in a way ideal citizens of the society.
I think they'll be
uh,
more kinder, more compassionate
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yes, I absolutely agree to that.
That's what we see so much missing, right? We see, and I think now if we see like small accidents on the road, what happens after the accident is a lot more trouble than the actual accident itself.
Exactly. I think it is just because we've lost that compassion within ourselves.
Yeah,
So human. I mean, I always say, humanity in a way has lost the path of being humane.
yeah,
We've lost it altogether, and we think. I mean, recently only I was having this conversation with somebody, and when you said, it is so important for the kids to understand the environment, but our environment has become so concretized.
yeah.
How do we explain to the kids about that as well? So I think
Mhm.
that is where we are lacking. We're just, I mean, recently, if you would look, there was another case where in Telangana or somewhere, there's
Yeah,
been a whole hoo-ha going on that 400 acres of land,
yeah.
forest land, has been just being, getting washed away. So I
And
think
same thing over here, right? They want to destroy the Tekdi and build a road over here as well. So um, I think there's just we we are seeing development as destroying nature and putting in more buildings and structures. I think
absolutely.
that needs to be.
I think on this, we can have a real separate
I
debate all about the whole thing. Now, coming back to your journey, how do you approach teaching kids about reading body languages, and what are the type of tips that you would give to the parents, even to install kindness or instill kindness and respect, for the living beings, or these voiceless beings that are there.
Before we go on, I would just uh, make a note about what you just said about calling them voiceless. I don't think they're voiceless at all.
Okay.
Uh, they have a voice. Just because we don't
Hear it.
hear it doesn't mean that they. I don't think. I think calling them voiceless again puts them into this charity, uh, sympathy space.
I'm going to
Uh,
take it as a point, and I'm going to mark it in my on my other ones as well.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But on the education front, what I used to do before is to show them photos, videos, do presentations. But I think they got bored of it. So then I've started uh, made the transition to a storytelling model. So I've written a book. I have it here with me.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
it's it's a children's book. It's called The Dog Who Goes to School.
Oh wow,
Uh,
wonderful. Okay.
and it's for kids, and through the book there are these subtle messages about how the kids are being with the dog around, and then at the end there is a learning section about how to be around a dog and what to do and what not to do. So I found a lot more success in terms of getting to the children and trying to help them understand the concepts that I would like to teach them through stories, a lot better than just being like a presentation model of these are the different signs and you need to be aware of it. I don't think they are remembering that part as much.
Kapil, can I ask you a question? Is this book available on Amazon, or how do people get to?
Uh, it is. So it's on my website. I don't have too many copies left. I had about, so I self-published it last year.
Okay.
Uh, and I think I have like about just 50 or 60 copies remaining. So I am going to print 1,000 more soon. Uh, and I've also written the second uh,
Book as well.
of of the book. So I'm waiting for the. I found a lovely illustrator who has done an excellent job. I think with children's book, it's the illustrations that are the
That
uh,
makes the
yeah,
difference
it makes or
altogether.
breaks, right? Yeah.
Uh,
So I feel myself to be very fortunate to have found someone who is doing an incredible job with it. So I'm just waiting for her to carry on with her work
Work.
and finish the second book of
I'll tell
it.
you
That's
what.
how.
I would highly appreciate if you could, once we finish it, I'll be more than happy to put it up on our podcast for people if they want to reach out and,
Yeah, for
get the link.
sure.
That would be
And
wonderful.
this is something which is actually done well across borders as well.
Okay.
Uh, Somebody in the US bought about 40 copies of the book and has been distributing it to different schools. And I'm seeing a lot of white kids uh, read the book on a big screen for the entire class, and they are having dialogues around it, and it's just amazing for uh, people not just in India but around the world uh, to be able to get something out of it. It's also translated in German and Turkish. So people in
Languages.
those
Wow.
yes, people in those countries are also benefiting from it. So I think I didn't expect it to have that much of an impact. I think I had a good story and I was like, okay, let's see how it does. Uh, but now a part of me is like, oh my God, I need to do more work now that it's doing
It's
well.
doing well. No, I can understand. It all starts, as I said, it all starts with a small fire, like a small spark. And then you never know when it turns into a full house sort of thing. But it's good. I'll definitely keep that in mind. From your experience, Kapil, what is the most effective way of teaching, you know, to people as well as kids? I know we were just discussing that your book through storyline works very well, but what are the other things that, in your experience, you think would work well?
Uh, I think more dialogues are important. I think it's not something which um, I feel it won't be successful if there was an online platform and people had to go through videos and then get that education. I think having a facilitator is extremely important, because this is something which, it's not just about learning about like language or math or science. It's people who need to learn this come from a place of whether it is fear or trauma, because sometimes they have been bitten in the past, which uh, plays a significant role in how they look at dogs around us. So having that human presence who is, understanding, has empathy for people who come from that space, uh, to then feel safe enough to learn about a dog's body language and make those changes to how they are behaving when they are around dogs. I think that needs a lot more hand holding than I thought it would. And I think a lot of times what helps is that when I'm just sitting with, whether it is my favorite people to have these workshops with is security guards, because they are the ones who are at the forefront of any institute or building or whatever that is, right? Uh, and that usually is just means sitting with, whether it is one guard or 10 guards, to just calmly talk about dogs, how they are, and then getting all their questions answered. I think that's also extremely important, because no matter how much in theory you can learn, people's practical experiences would be so much beyond what you're learning. Uh,
Absolutely.
and then helping them understand as to why this may happen or that may happen. And again, at the end of it, we can never truly fully understand what a dog is thinking, or we can never fully see from a dog's perspective. So we are just trying to make sense from what we know in terms of studying body language and communication, uh, and the signals that the dog is giving. But ultimately, it's still our best guess. Uh, and helping them understand that, yes, you may have all this information now, but that does not mean you can proceed to uh, impose yourself on a dog when it's not called for. So I think the best thing for them to people to just understand is just leave the dog alone, uh, and just walk away without making eye contact, and nothing's going to happen. Yeah, I
As it
think.
is said, sometimes doing nothing is also important.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like don't impose yourself when it's not needed. And I think, but we humans have a very dirty habit. We need to impose ourselves on everything.
Because we feel we can fix things, right? I mean, we've been given this brain which makes us believe that we can solve things. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I really loved the part where you said, dealing with the security guards and all that, because that is the prime contact, the initial point for everything. How successful have you been with that, so far?
Uh, so one of the success stories that I have been told about is at Symbiosis Institute in Lovely,
Okay.
uh, where uh, where before they used to carry sticks around, or try to intimidate the dogs or chase the dogs away. Uh, Now we have turned it around where they are actively involved. And if they see a dog who is not well, they are the ones who are reporting it to the student animal welfare committee. Uh, so it's not just about uh, teaching them about how to not get into conflict, but also try to instill some sort of care or empathy, uh, so that they are just more involved in looking after the animals on campus. And I think when that happened, uh, life has been much better for students, for the guards, for the administration, for the faculty, and of course the dogs. So that's one that I've been told about. But a lot of times, what happens, I do these workshops and then I don't really get a feedback afterwards as to what's happening. They only call me when there's trouble, right? So if I'm not being compliant, I'm taking that as a sign as okay, things are.
Everything is all well, all well.
Yeah.
Coming back to this whole thing is how can we help people understand the importance of respecting animal boundaries, to prevent unnecessary stress or aggression. As you were saying, sometimes just walk away, but not every human would understand that.
Yeah. Uh, I think that goes again, maybe what you talked about, a bit of spiritualism as well, as to having that sense that there is very little that we can actually control or, uh, intervene and do something about in this world in general. Uh, that it's okay to not feel important enough to do something. Uh, and I don't know what is the best way to go about teaching those values. Uh, Maybe religion and spiritualism would have better ways to go about it. Um, but for me, for now, that what I just keep telling people, especially with uh, my consultancy clients with pet dogs, is that the dog is an individual who can uh, feel different emotions, have different mood swings. Uh, so if something is feeling off, there's a possibility maybe just the dog is having a bad day, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you need to teach the dog how to be okay. Uh, yeah, so I think just allowing that freedom. Uh, a friend of mine told me that we need to allow dogs to express common sense more. I think we are not letting dogs express common sense, and we're not letting people express common sense as well, right? We so many times we say that there just common sense needs to prevail, but it's not.
Very true.
uh, yeah.
Some, as you said, sometimes we humans also don't understand or don't realize it is okay sometimes to be not okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all humans. We don't need to
Yeah.
be perfect.
Yeah.
The world is
and,
never
and that's
uh,
where resilience comes into play, right? I mean, we don't want to have our dogs so protected that they are never exposed to bad things. Well,
absolutely.
that's not life. Bad things will happen. What we want is for dogs to be able to cope with the bad things.
Absolutely.
Uh, and if we don't allow them that chance, they will never learn that.
Very true. Now, coming back to the other question that is very important, or probably which has been there but has not been utilized properly.
Mhm.
We all talk about PCA is there.
Mhm.
There's a PCA Act. What are some of the most prevalent forms of cruelty to animal you encounter, and
Hmm.
how a society, how as a proper society can prevent that from happening?
Yeah. Uh, I think the biggest one is relocation. I don't think that's even seen as cruelty. I feel I even remember when I was growing up, we used to have cat traps, and I remember my grandfather catching cats and going far away and just releasing them somewhere else. Uh, and I think that act of it's okay to take an animal and just drop off the animal somewhere else, not realizing the issues that crop up because of that. I think that's the um, biggest worry that I have, because one, we are not even aware that it is a problem, uh, and two, we don't even uh, know the magnitude, the issue that happens, not just to that animal but to that whole environment when we do that. Uh, I think that's something which needs to be addressed more than anything, is to not allow people to relocate animals on a whim.
I think it is very, very important. What you've touched. Uh,
Mm.
I have been fighting that for the last 8 to 9 months seriously at my mother's society, with people. They were like, uh, I mean, okay, it was not a mistake, but there was a delay in terms of me getting the ABC done up for one of the kids, because I had booked the appointment and the slot, and somehow she got on heat, and she
Mhm.
had kids, and the entire community was like, "Goni mein dalo aur inko phek do."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just because I stood up, and there were a couple of other members or residents of the society who stood by my side,
Mhm.
we were able to prevent them from relocating, but we couldn't
Yeah.
prevent them from driving their cars, hurting these kids. And
Yeah.
so, there's a whole lot that I have gone through, and fortunately or unfortunately, I had to bring one of them home. So,
Mhm.
so that's
Yeah.
where I told you I have now three at my home, and
Yeah.
one is from this, uh,
Mm.
band of the
Yeah.
three kids this mother had, and I've been taking care of the mother for the last 2 years, and now I
Mhm.
take care of all the other kids also. And this time we made sure that the ABC is done in time,
Yeah.
to avoid the nonsense that they were talking about. So it was
Yeah.
really, really a tough time. Uh,
Yeah.
Coming back to my next question would be, how do you see animal shelters or rescue organizations or government bodies, in enforcing PCA?
I don't know, to be honest. I think more than shelters and rescue organizations, it is government bodies who need to step up a lot more. I think shelters are just overwhelmed by the amount of injured and sick animals that are there, that they just don't have any bandwidth to go about uh, preventive actions and education and all of that. Um, so it's something which somebody else, or we need an organization that is dedicated to education or dedicated to uh, helping people be more aware about the laws. Uh, but I think more than the laws, laws are great to try to prevent uh, or try to stop people from doing bad things. But if we need like a reformation to happen in the mindset of people, then the education is the only answer for that. If you want a change in how people see animals, if you want a change in how people treat individuals in our environment, I think education is the only way to do that. And I think we do need more people, more organization, whether, and ideally it happens through the government, right? Because then it's the government machinery can take it to so many schools, so many different public spaces where there can be signs up there and communication put up where all of these messages get distributed to the mass public in a very effective way. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know
No,
if
no,
that will ever happen, to be honest.
no. I'll tell you what. See, it's we humans live on hope. Let's be
Hmm.
very honest. That is what hope is, actually what drives all the humans that we have. And what you've rightly said, this is something which is like, we hope that everybody can get involved. But I'm sure, I can't say it will happen tomorrow. But
Yeah.
yes, we can all hope and work, do our part towards strengthening it. And as you rightly said, because the bandwidth with the shelters or with the rescuers is so limited, that we
Mhm.
need the government machinery behind to make it
Yeah.
reach to a wider audience. Kapil, as we were discussing, about the shelters and everybody playing a role in terms of preventing,
Mhm.
what specific changes do you think or do you believe need to happen to strengthen this, the Animal Welfare or the PCA Act?
I think we are quite good in terms of the law. I think it's the implementation of it that needs to be strengthened. And I think that's the case with so much of human law as well, right? Uh, I don't know what's the best way to go about that, to be honest. I think it's something which lawyers need to, maybe we need more. education in law school when it comes to PCA, and that's something which is a semester long class that happens, so that there are more lawyers who are graduating and aware about uh, PCA, and then maybe that would have a uh, you know if effect in terms of their practice, and they would be more aware about those things. uh, or even if a lawyer is staying in a society and notices these things happening, is more vocal in terms of communicating the laws to the residents. uh, I think that's the best that I can think of right now, but I'm not really sure what's the right answer for this.
No, I tell you, we all don't have the right answers as yet. We're all still trying to figure out, rather than saying this is going to work and this is not. I think, but yes, the most important is we all need to make an effort.
Hmm.
That's the most important aspect.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think individuals can contribute, to the PCA or the animal health welfare efforts in their local communities? And not only that, when they see it on the streets, even.
Yeah. Um, I think maybe could start off with better documentation. Uh, I don't know how many cases there are of cruelty towards animals, apart from the ones that come up on our rescue WhatsApp groups and social media. But I'm sure there's a lot more that is happening uh, on a day-to-day basis. So just getting a better sense of where, what are the pain points in terms of where cruelty is happening, uh, could help uh, lawyers and policymakers to uh, cover those gaps if there are any. Uh, I think that's one way for people, regular citizens, to contribute by, if it was easy, if there was like an app or just a form where they see something, they can anonymously uh, put that in, so that we have like a extensive data on what are the different types of cruelty cases that are going on, how frequently, and work with that data to then um, implement changes in policy. I think that's something which individuals can do, uh, which is something which would have a significant long-term impact.
I
Uh,
tell you, to be honest, I liked your idea where you said, if we had an app or something.
Mhm.
It got my head, my brain's thinking in that direction as well, to be honest. But yes, it is so true. We should have a proper data, because I think what we lack today is the data of the cruelty that happens to all these animals, apart from what we see on our social medias, on our feeds and everything, which is like it's happening there, happening here. But I think what you rightly pointed out, we need to have a proper, you know, a significant concrete data to prove, yes, this is
Yeah.
what is happening.
Yeah.
Uh, Coming back to my other question, what's the biggest challenge you feel is there in educating public about the legal aspects of the PCA, and how can laws be more accessible to everyone?
Hmm. Uh, I think biggest challenge is for people to start caring about the laws. Uh, so how that comes about is again going door to door or society to society, uh, having these sessions. I remember there was one residential society when I had gone to do a workshop, uh, when nothing was happening. There were no issues, but they just wanted to do an awareness session as a preventive action, just. And I think those getting those done at a much larger scale, so that people are aware of the laws before something happens, is more important than doing a workshop after something happens. Uh, I think doing it's just about getting to more people, uh, whether it is in person or online. And again, I don't know, maybe the government machinery is the best equipped to do this. Uh, but I don't know how feasible it is in terms of where do you even find so many people who can go about doing this, right?
That's a very good question you asked. Where do you find so many people to go and do it?
Mm.
Where do you find so many people with empathy actually to go and do it? To be honest, that's a
Yeah.
very good question. Uh, Kapil, I'm going to come to the end section of the podcast. I would like to first of all thank you for being and sparing your precious time with us. Now, this is the section where I leave it open mic, where I let the guest speak his heart out in terms of the favorite project or whatever he's been working on when it comes to animal welfare. And I also leave it open if he has a favorite NGO that he works with, which needs funding. Because let's be honest, we all know our Achilles heel with most of the NGOs is funding. We are all stuck with that. So as you rightly said, the bandwidth. So I
Yeah.
leave it open. This is something I leave it open to you.
Uh, yeah, I mean, firstly, thank you for having me here. It was a pleasure. I think I would never say no to geeking out about dogs, right? I mean, it's just such a pleasure to talk about them. And it just gives me so much joy to share this time with you, to have different conversations about dogs. Uh, I don't have any particular message as such for people um, apart from just be aware about what's around you. Uh, I think so many messages have been given in our conversation, uh, to then come off. I don't know if I want to do like a speech kind of a thing to be like inspire people or something like that. I feel, um, more than trying to get them to do something, just trying to change the narrative around dogs. Uh, it's interesting because people find it quite amusing about this thing that about to share. Uh, Earlier this year, about 40 Americans and a few other Europeans, people from Australia, came to India on a 12-day study tour to observe and learn from our indie dogs.
Wow.
Uh, and the thinking behind that is that our indie dogs, because there's no human breeding in them, they're it's survival of the fittest. It's evolution. So their behavior is the closest resemblance to natural dog behavior. And learning from natural dog behavior is something which is extremely valuable uh, to the outside people outside of India. And that's something which our dogs are of incredible value to people all over the world. They're not something which are, some animals that need to be looked down upon or have feel bad about or even call them voiceless. They are animals who we need to admire, learn from. It's not just about their body language or their behaviors that need to be learned from. There's so much about life that we can learn from them, how they navigate their life. As you said, how resilient they are. Uh, I've seen so many times when dogs have been just sleeping in the middle of the road, um, expecting traffic to go past them, when they had options to sleep on the footpath or on the sides. But they still choose to be like, no, this is where I'm going to sleep. And I'm not going to I'm not going to cave in to the demands of the human society. I belong here equally as much as you do. And this is how I'm going to go about my life. And we need to come to an agreement, mutual agreement, as to how both of us can live, peacefully. And that's something which is so incredible and so powerful. There's so many life lessons from them. We just have to be open to listening, not just from dogs, but from other animals and other people. I think the more we listen, uh, the I don't know if happier is the right term, but the more fulfilled our life would
We
be.
will feel that is so true. I 100% agree with you on that. I'll tell you what, I'm going to thank you, really, Kapil. Thank you very much for being and taking the time to come and, share your experiences and your journey with us and with the audience. And we hope, uh, you know, it's, as they said, boon boon se samundar banta hai. So thank you
And
very.
I will share some more resources as well. I have a very nice presentation um, done by an American psychologist. It's called Rescuing the Rescuer. So for
Wow.
people who do end up, feeling burnt out, it's a good way. It has helped me incredibly to assess my own feelings and know where I need to take a step back and where I need to take a breather. So I have a lot of these resources I will share
I would
as
I
much
would be
as
so thrilled to have these resources and share it with
I
with all the people that we have on this. Thank you very much, Kapil, for coming and sparing the time. Thank you so much.
Happy to. Loved it.